Hello everyone, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I have 4 simple Christmas cards to share with the new Spellbinders Dancing Christmas collection. All of these are interactive cards where a part of the die-cut critter moves or dances. I love these interactive dies from Spellbinders, and there are many different dancing dies. There was just a Dancing Halloween collection released last month, and many dancing dies that were released previously. I love interactive cards in general. I think they're super fun to look at and play with, but sometimes the interactivity component can be a little bit too complicated to build. It is a little bit too intimidating, at least that's how it feels to me. And these interactive cards are very easy. It really doesn't get any easier than this. You just need a foam square, or better, a foam circle to make this interactive element work. Now, there are 4 dies in this collection, 4 little critters or objects. I'm working with a dancing penguin right now, and I'm showing you how I assemble the penguin. The penguin is the smallest die set from this release. It's an S3 die, and the penguin looks like he is ice skating. He's just very handsome and absolutely adorable. You can easily fit 2 penguins on a portrait card, or 3 penguins if you make a landscape card, or even more penguins if you opt for a slimline card. Imagine a row of these darling penguins, maybe have each of them dressed in a different color sweater skating on your card. I think that would be super adorable. There's also a dancing mouse die, and the mouse is pretty big. He is holding a giant gift with a big bow, and he is walking. So his legs are moving, and it looks like he is walking. He's on his way to give the gift. You can have the mouse hold something else. He doesn't have to hold the gift. He can hold a Christmas tree. He can hold flowers. He can hold an envelope or like a mini tiny card. Or nothing. He doesn't have to hold something. He can just walk without anything in his hand. I'm quickly showing you how I assemble each of the dies, but if you get stuck during assembly, be sure to pop over to the Spellbinders website. They have detail sheets that explain what each die cuts and where each die needs to go. Some of these dies, they have multiple options. For example, the mouse die, you have options as to how you can do the shoes. You can have the mouse either wear the boots or like tennis shoes. And also there are different options for the scarf. You can have him wear the scarf, or you can have him just wear a little turtleneck or something like that. So many of these dies have additional pieces to customize your die cuts and have them assembled slightly differently. I opted to add a little bit of ink blending to some of my die cuts. I ink blended the pudding the most, but I also added some red ink blending to the penguin and to the mouse as well. I think that the ink blending helps add dimension to these die cuts, and it helps add interest. Now, all of these die cuts have faces to them, and you can either die cut the eyes and the blush and the mouth from colored cardstock, or you can just back the openings with a small scrap piece of colored cardstock. That's what I did for most of my die cuts. It was just a little bit easier and a little bit faster. Now, I also wanted to decorate each of my critters or each of my objects with some additional holly leaves and berries, or holly leaves and poinsettias. The pudding set comes with the holly leaves and berries, and you can see that I've added that onto my pudding, but the penguin and the other sets, they don't have any additional images. So I opted to use an older die set from Spellbinders. This is the Christmas Blooms die set. It was released last year. It was crazy popular. It is still one of my favorite Christmas die sets of all time. I picked that particular set because the holly leaves and the poinsettias were small enough to go onto my critters. There's also a set with a pudding, and that one is utterly adorable. The pudding has arms and legs, and the legs swing from side to side. Finally, the last die set in this collection is a set with a gingerbread boy and gingerbread girl, and their bodies move from side to side. So not just legs, but the entire body moves. This collection also includes an embossing folder. It is a 2D embossing folder. I am not using the folder today. I do have it, but I wanted to have a simpler background for my cards because these are interactive, so they already have this amazing wow element to them. I wanted the background to be super, super simple. And so I used just light blue cardstock, the Spellbinders Glacier cardstock for all of my cards and all of my backgrounds, and I did not want to add any embossing. The last product in this release is a stamp set with a bunch of coordinating sentiments. I also have the stamp set, but I wanted to add foiling to my cards, so I did not use the stamp set, but I used Better Press plates and I foiled my sentiments using the Better Press plates. The sentiments in the stamp set are also wordplay sentiments. They're very cute and very clever. But when I gift my cards to my friends here in Ukraine, and I do plan to gift these particular cards to my friends here, not everyone here understands the wordplay sentiments. So because of that, I often opt for simpler and more general holiday messages. Now let's talk about card assembly. I know I'm jumping all over the place with this video, but I wanted to show you each process or each part of the process step by step. So I wanted to do foiled sentiments and I wanted to go with simpler sentiments for my cards. I have here a panel of Glacier cardstock. This is Spellbinders Glacier. It is cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and I'm using this cardstock for all 4 card backgrounds today. I'm also attaching a Better Press plate using my best ever craft tape. This one comes from the Christmas Greetings Better Press plate set, and I'm going to foil this in the Spellbinders matte silver foil. I typically like to use matte gold, but I kind of felt like it was time to switch things up, so I opted to use the matte silver. Another reason why I picked the matte silver was the color of cardstock that I used for the ice skates on my penguin. I used the mirror silver cardstock from Spellbinders, so I wanted the sentiment to match. I used my Glimmer hot foil system and I followed the instructions. I am foiling with a Better Press plate. And as you know, you can not only press with a Better Press plate, so not only use inks to stamp with your Better Press plates, but you can also foil with them. This is the feature that I am honestly most excited about when it comes to Better Press plates. I mean, I do love using them for Better Press impressions, but I also want to foil these sentiments for my cards, and I want to be able to foil them on different colors of cardstock like this Glacier. So here I am foiling my sentiment, and I love the result. The Christmas Greetings is done in the perfect font to complement my penguin. The sentiment is nice and large in size to balance the card design and also to ground my penguin on this card. Now let's look at how you assemble the interactive component. The first thing you want to do is you want to lay down the element that moves on your panel. So I have the little feet here with the circle opening positioned on my panel, and I'm going to add a foam square inside that circle opening. If your circle opening is big, you'll notice that the other dies, that circle opening is kind of bigger. You want to position your foam square closer to the top, because if you position it closer to the bottom of that opening, your die cut is going to drop down and your die cut is not going to be positioned where you first intended it to be. So make sure you position your foam square at the top of the opening. If you have a foam circle, use a foam circle. That will help your element move more freely. But if you don't have a circle, use a square. That works just as well. Okay, next, let's look at the second card. And here I'm once again foiling a sentiment. And this one comes from the Christmas Icons Better Press set. This one reads, "Delivering Christmas Cheer." I picked this sentiment because my mouth, he is holding that giant gift. So he is sort of doing a delivery, and that's the reasoning behind this sentiment. Now here you can see the legs there, the opening there is much larger, and you can actually fit a much larger foam square. But you can see that I'm positioning the foam square a lot closer to the top of the opening. This way, the legs are not going to drop when this card stands upright. Next, I'm using foam adhesive squares to foam mount the top part of the body and foam mount the gift. One thing I wanted to point out, sometimes the legs can move a little bit too far, and you might want to add a little stopper to prevent the legs from moving too far to the left and too far to the right. I added a little foam square, a little piece of foam square to the tail. Not sure if you can see that there. So that is going to stop the legs from moving too far to the left. And on the finished card, I also have some gems that stop the legs from moving too far to the right. Now this card, it has the most restrictions, I should say. The legs don't really move that freely here, but they also don't move in an odd and awkward way, if you know what I mean. For my next two cards, I decided I wanted to foil a full card background. So here I'm using the Merry Christmas and Happy New Year batter press plate. It is a gorgeous plate to create beautiful backgrounds. Here I'm using it as a backdrop, more like a tone-on-tone backdrop. It's not exactly tone on tone because it's silver on light blue, but it's very subtle. It's not in your face. It adds interest. It adds a sentiment, but it does not overpower the main element, which is the dancing pudding. I also used the Merry Christmas World batter press plate, and I foiled it in that same foil color for the gingerbread boy and the gingerbread girl dancing dies. So that's a look at the cards I have for you today, created with the Spellbinders Dancing Christmas collection. I encourage you to give this collection a try. These are super fun to make. They are also super fun to give. Be sure to show the recipient once you gift your card that the legs move from side to side. That is sure to bring a smile to their face. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.